best of rap, hip-hop, soul, R&B, and funk. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on Normal Show Live, send it to us at stash@normal.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tune.
Oh, today we get a treat. I love it when we have live guests in the studio, especially live musical guests. We are joined by Pegleg.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Well, I should say welcome back. You've been on the show before.
Yes, I have. Thank you. It's good to be back. Good to be back. What up, Radical Russ, Ganja John?
Having a good time. Hey, let's pan that camera down just a little bit. Get your head down there, and we can see you a little better.
Pan that for me, Dan.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
There we go. We're recording this on the live cam as well. There. We can
Nice,
get his
nice.
head. Yeah, just keep going down there. Keep going.
Yeah.
There you go. Get him in a frame. All right, looking good. But Pegleg, you were away for a while, and
I
now
was.
you're back in the Pac Northwest. Tell us all about it.
All right. Yeah, I was back on the East Coast handling some personal family issues for about 2-3 years. I've been coming back every couple months to handle business. I'm signed to Taxidermy Records here in Portland, Oregon. Recording, handling, upcoming shows and negotiating different business things. But as of the last 10 days, I'm back in the Northwest. I'm performing at the Fire in the Canyon Festival. It's this weekend, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's over 80 acts performing.
yeah.
Headlining Del the Funky Homo Sapien, The Far Side with a live band, Sleep from Old Dominion, Bus Driver. I mean, the list goes on and on. Go to fireinthecanyon.com. It's an amazing lineup. I'm playing the main stage myself Sunday. It's the third day around, I think it's 1 or 1:30.
Yeah.
Most artists have about a 20-minute slot, so, you got to come in, check everybody out. There's a lot of amazing acts from the Northwest and all over, national acts coming through. So, I'm really, respectful that I was able to even be a part of this event, just coming back into town. But it's going to be something awesome. So, yeah. I mean, come on down
Right
to
on.
Fire in the Canyon. It's going to be a blast.
So you've signed on with this record label, and you got any new stuff coming out? Or that we should know about?
I got a new Pegleg album's coming out in the next couple months. It's called Slack Tide. And then I have an alias project. It's called Benjamin Matthews, and that's the new thing that everybody needs to be looking out for. It's going to be my new Northwest kind of like persona that I'm going to take on. It's going to kind of help me get outside the box of Pegleg, not to talk in multiple personalities or anything. It can sound insane as an artist, but it is kind of like that when you, you create an identity as an artist and you release several projects under that name. People get used to like a certain sound and a certain style coming from you, and sometimes to kind of come at it a different way is fun. So I've been working on the Benjamin Matthews project for about a year. That's a play off of my name, which is Greg Matthew Benjamin, flipping it the other way.
Right on.
So look out for that, and we're really excited about that.
I think of all sorts of hip hop acts though that do something similar. If you think maybe not with different albums, but at least personas that they portray in their music. You can go to Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Slim
Bobby.
Shady, or go to like say Digital Underground with MC Blowfish and the Piano Man and Humpty Hump and Shock G all being the same guy.
It's kind of something that I think all rappers or MCs, we all kind of do that. We kind of have different aliases, and you'll kind of get a lot of that. You'll be like Method Man, aka Italian Stallion,
Machiavelli, all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of like a thing, because you kind of have to. Part of being an MC, master of ceremony, is the ability to get in front of a group of people and control an environment. So you have to have a kind of a confidence, and when you start having that confidence, you kind of, I think, start creating different characters almost to kind of help emulate that image or control that you're trying to have on the group of people that you're performing in front of, and to make it more creative and fun too. So
right on.
Yeah.
So you talked about the label. How about is there a website for the label and for you particularly?
Taxidermyrecords.com. Great roster of artists. There's a web store. If you look on cdbaby.com, you can find my first 2 albums, which is Saving Face and Standardized Tests. The easiest way to find that is going to freepoets.com, which is, don't like saying that too much. It is my older stuff. I used to be the front guy of Science Nonfiction once upon a time. But yeah, there's 2 older things at freepoets.com, and the new stuff is available at taxidermyrecords.com and on iTunes. Pegleg, all 3 albums are available on iTunes. So
right on.
Support your guy, buy him lunch, help a guy out.
Yeah. So what Pegleg, what made you want to come back to the Pacific Northwest?
It's great. I've been a medical card holder for 5 years. I'm really into the laws out here in Oregon, just recognizing cannabis as being a medicine and something that people need every day in their life, like food or water. I mean, that's how I look at it. It's my medicine. It helps me in a lot of different ways. But that was one of the main reasons. There not being any sales tax out here is
That's
always
nice,
is
yeah.
another perk. You know, I was on the East Coast, I think, where sales tax was like 9%
Oh,
or
my
something
God.
like that. So it does add up really quickly. But yeah, it's just a beautiful place. The people, there's a great diverse group of people as far as ethnicity, coming, you know, people from all around the world, opposed to where I was in the Bible Belt, where there's just kind of one kind of person and, you know, one mentality, one religion, you know, and after a while it kind of starts to get cabin fever even in an entire city.
Sure.
So, you know, Portland's not like that. We're very welcoming here, and, you know, I call Portland home, and if someone asks me where I'm from, it's Portland for sure.
Right on. Now, did you get your start in music here in Portland, or how did you get your start?
All right. Well, originally I'm from New Jersey, and then I grew up in Florida, high school, and probably around 18, 19, after memorizing all of Wu-Tang's lyrics and never really thinking about writing a verse and just being involved in hip-hop culture as far as being aware of who was coming out with new music and knowing everybody's stuff and showing people that weren't familiar with, you know, because at the time hip-hop wasn't mainstream. There wasn't videos and, you know, it wasn't this, you know, machine on the radio that I felt like I was one of those people making mix CDs and tapes for people at the time. And I found myself making music around 1999, and I went to a school called Full Sail, and I have a degree in film and video production, and half of my degree program is the same as the audio program, and I met a lot of other kids that were making music and are already releasing records. So by the time I graduated, I knew 20, 30 producers that had been making music for 10 years prior to even going to school, and I created a group called Science Nonfiction in 2001. We started touring really hard in the Southeast, 2001, 2002. By 2003, we were on Van's Warped Tour, opened up for Common Sense, and started touring nationally. And then I met an artist by the name of Sleep Old Dominion. Sleep's part of a crew called Old Dominion. They're a Northwest staple out here. There's like 30 members. Within the group, there's a bunch of other groups and crews like Gray Skull out of Seattle. They're on Rhymesayers, which is Atmosphere's label. And there's a lot of you know, just networking, and these guys are professionals that have been doing this, and I met them when I was, you know, my younger 20s, and, you know, Sleep was just like telling me about Portland and how it was like this mecca for music and how it was really diverse, and you could kind of be any kind of person out here and not feel like you're being like stared at. And at the time my music was more alternative and less traditional hip-hop. So I made the move out here in 2005, started touring with Sleep and Josh Martinez and some of the other Camo Bear Records guys, and it worked really well for me, and I stayed out here and became solo as Pegleg, and then eventually signed with Taxidermy Records when it started up, and the rest is history.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think when people outside of the area think of the Pacific Northwest and think music, they'll think Seattle and grunge.
Right.
And with Portland, maybe they think, you know, jam bands or reggae or something like that.
Right.
Is there a burgeoning Portland hip hop scene?
I think it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that if you're not paying attention to the genre or involved within it or already a fan, it could almost go by you and you wouldn't even know, because it's not something that's really publicized. It's not heavily promoted outside of the areas where the people that are already into it would follow it. You know, it's like the fans of these groups know to go to those certain record stores to look for the flyers. They look for the invites on the social networks. So it's really going on. I mean, most of the artists that I work with that are on my record label, that are on some of the other local labels, they all sell out shows. They all have, you know, 150, 200, 300 people come out to shows, and, you know, they're not starving artists really at this point. They're really working hard in their craft. Most of them tour outside of the United States as well, and, you know, it's a grind for sure. So yeah, definitely Portland, Oregon's on the map as part of the Northwest. Seattle as well. The whole Northwest has a really good sound that's fresh and open-minded and different and strong. And
Well, you know, and speaking of that, you know, I'm probably one of those guys. I'm about ankle deep in hip hop as far as my depth of understanding. John and Cleco way more in depth with it than I am. But when I think of regional differences in hip hop, of course, East Coast versus West Coast, and I also think of Dirty South kind of thing going on. As far as the Pacific Northwest hip hop sound, how would it differ? Are there elements of it that's different than those other areas?
Okay, well, the whole East Coast West Coast thing is pretty much like mainstream created beef for marketing purposes on a major level, which is old. I mean, that whole from
well, I mean the sound though. I mean, like,
I know,
I think
but
LA is
I'm
like
getting
laid
to
back.
that. I'm getting to that.
Okay.
It's just that there was always a stereotype that East Coast music was really rough and hard, and West Coast music was like laid back. Like, hence you have your Wu-Tang and your Mobb Deep, and you have your Dr. Dre.
Right,
you have your
right.
West Coast sounds. But in reality, you have both going. You know, you have really light, fun, you know, upbeat music that comes out of the East Coast, and you have really hard, scary music that comes out of the West Coast. So it really depends on the artist you listen to. Is really kind of, but I think the way Portland stands out is that the content in Portland seems to me is really open-minded, and I find that most of the artists out here kind of step outside the box, whether it be creating a different persona, or, you know, just approaching material in a different way. It doesn't sound kind of where, in my opinion, where you can listen to a lot of hip-hop and kind of get confused by the artist, where each kind of person sounds the same, very similar.
Well, that's what I liked about, you know, playing your tunes here on the Stash is, like, for example, just pick one song out of the mix here, you know, Pickle My Bones, and I put that tune on, and I'm hearing, you know, what is that, a mandolin or ukulele, something like that, like a sea chanty kind of thing. And I'm like, well, this is not like anything I've heard before, man. This is great.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely try to, you know, keep the production tip top and add some elements that are, you know, a little bit different, you know, as best as I can.
Well, that's cool. Well, I got an idea here. We got this wonderful board. We got all these microphones and headphones, and you got something you can lay out on for us here?
Yeah, you're talking about Pickle My Bones. If everybody's cool with it, we could maybe try to run through the track live, or most of it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Cool.
All right.
All right, let's do that.
Do we need to take a break to set anything up, or are you just good to go?
Yeah, I'm pretty good to go.
Far out.
Well, sip of this tea and let's roll.
Peg Leg live with Pickle My Bones.
I'm frustrated, and I had to get off the couch and head towards the city and see who's out and about, because I can't always sit around and just blaze this funk. So I'm hitting you all up. You're down to get manipulated from this idiot box. And also, reality TV makes me feel like my brain's gonna rot. I can't sit around this apartment and just smoke all this pot when I got homies on the block that are down to take some shots. I'm just kidding, and you know it's all love. Here's a hug and cheers. Now everybody bottoms up. I'm getting bent. I'm tipping over 50%. That nice guy who helps these bartenders pay their rent. But after an hour's passed, these cats are trash, and Ivano's there making jokes I can't help but laugh. It's so funny the way this dude cracks jokes. I'm so drunk I keep on forgetting Zeb smokes. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a bottle of booze by my head and my feet. So then I know that my bones will keep. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a bottle of booze by my head and my feet. So then I know my bones will keep. Well, it was too close for comfort, but I finally made it home. I was wasted and alone with my keys and my cell phone. Missed calls from my girl, I know that she cares. Right now I'm working on trying to get up these stairs, cause everything is spinning, taking it one step at a time. I'm happy the police didn't ask me to walk a straight line. I'm tripping over shit just trying to get through the door. I gotta find my bed before I end up on the floor. By morning I'm praying to a porcelain goddess. I gotta beg police because I swear that I promise that I'll stop drinking before I ever go out, because I'd rather take long hits and just black out. It goes concentrated hits mixed with alcohol, it never works. I go berserk and just spit a verse at random, and that's the way it goes, playing at Fire in the Canyon, chilling with Ganja John and Radical Russ. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a bottle of booze at my head and my feet. So then I know that my bones will keep. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a bottle of booze in my head and my feet. So then I know that my bones will keep. Well, if it's after hours, I could use a cold shower. I'm looking for a designated drive-thru to devour. I gotta get some food in the stomach real quick before I'm laying in the fetal position sick. I should have taken sleeps off it with the designated driver. I couldn't be any drunker, I couldn't be any higher. Was that a cop? Did I just run a red light? I can't get pulled over or searched tonight. My car is not registered, I live in a different state. When you're wasted, it's hard to concentrate on driving straight. The way that I look at it, they got probable cause to search my ride and find what I'm trying to hide. And if they look into my eyes, then they'll know that I'm high. And there's no way they're gonna let me slide by. There's no way a pirate goes down with his ship, even if it means he has to abandon it. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and maybe take some bong hits. I'll meet you at my house, we can chill and just split a half an ounce. That's the way it goes down, chillin' with Radical Russ and Ganja John. PHX, oil hits from my bong, that's what I said before. Not going on tour, just taking some more bong hits till I can't take anymore. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a bottle of booze on my head and my feet. So then I know that my bones will keep. So when I die, don't bury me at all. Just pickle my bones in alcohol and put a ball of booze by my head and my feet. So then I know that my bones will keep. So when I die, don't bury me at all. I prefer concentrate hits, y'all. I'd rather smoke some weed than ever start to drink. And that's what you should do if you actually start to think. Because the ganja, I swear, it can save the world. You can chill with your friends or just hang out with your girl in your living room. Puff, puff, pass, that's the way that it goes until we laugh. See ya, yo.
I love it.
That is badass.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yo. Peg Leg, Taxidermy Records.
Studio's going nuts for you, man.
Yay.
Taxidermy Records, Peg Leg with Pickle My Bones live here at Normal Show
Check
Live.
me out. Greg Peg Leg Rosen on the Facebook. Find me. Befriends me.
Be friends. Like him.
Like him.
He
yes.
desperately wants to be liked.
Comment on me.
Thank you so much,
thank
Peg Leg.
you.
And let's remind folks about the Fire in the Mountain, Fire in the Canyon.
Fire in the Canyon. It's a great festival. It's 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Over 70 acts. Really, you need to go to the website, fireincanyon.com, and check out the lineup. But the headliners are Del the Funky Homo Sapien with the live band, Far Side with the live band, and Diggable Planets. Remember them?
Oh yeah.
There we go. It's a huge lineup, so check it out. But,
I'm actually thinking Del the Funky Homo Sapiens when I want to catch it. I love that.
You want to check out Del for
I
sure.
like Del, man. Didn't he work with Gorillas too, right?
Yep,
he did the stuff in
Souls
Gorillas
and
too.
Mischief too. Yeah,
That's
I
right.
mean, pinnacle hip hop icon.
Right
in the
on.
90s, for sure.
Just right outside of town. This is fantastic. Fire in the Canyon.
Horning's Hideout.
Yeah.
Legendary Horning's Hideout.
That's right.
So.
Fireinthecanyon.com.
Yep, that's it.
All right, check it out. Peg Leg, Greg Rosen, thank you so much for coming in here live and giving us some wonderful live tunes. That's awesome.
Oh, cool. Happy you guys enjoyed it.
Oh, we loved it.
Time to puff.
All right, we're
Peace.
going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be on our Southern California scene with Terry Joyce. Eric Matuzik joins us to fill us in on the latest in the Starbuds Collective case. We'll be right back after this.
You want a copy of that song for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
Loose lips cause rips. Never brag about your home grow, even if you're a legal medical grower.
Normal Show Live reminds you to never consent to a search. If you're holding and you consent, in most states you will be arrested immediately and you will go to jail. If you don't consent to a search, police may try to intimidate you by threatening to bring in drug-sniffing dogs or try to fool you by saying things will go easier if you consent. Yeah, easier for them, sure. Stand your ground, refuse the search, and ask the officer if you're free to go. If they still detain you and eventually find your contraband, you'll be no more busted than if you had allowed the search. But by refusing the search, your attorney has a chance to win your acquittal before a judge. If you consent to the search, your attorney's hands are tied. You can find a list of Normal Legal Committee attorneys specializing in marijuana cases by visiting the Find a Lawyer link at normal.org. Weed.
That's Hooey Valley, hooey-ha.
Weed.
Where any office boy or young mechanic.
Now it's time for a report from the epicenter of American cannabis culture with our Southern California correspondent. You know her from ComedyNation.com and her appearance as a finalist on Season 1 of NBC's Last Comic Standing. It's our friend, cannabis comedian and marijuana activist, the lovely and talented Terry Joyce.
Everybody who comes on our show is lovely and talented, but none so much as Terry Joyce. Terry, how you doing?
Oh, that's really nice.
Oh, I
Thank you.
thought
I'm doing great.
It's been a while since we spoke to you, so it's good to have you back on the show. And I think one of the last times that we got together and talked, we were talking about today's guest. But before we get to the guest, let's talk about you a little bit. What's been happening in the past few weeks with Terry Joyce?
Well, I've just been doing the radio show, and just want to welcome our listeners to check out Hollywood Hemphers Hour on newdissonantradio.com, as well as we replay on the normal network. And just planning on going to Seattle Hemp Fest.
Oh, you're going to be up in Hemp Fest this year?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I got to interview the guys from Hemp Fest on the Hollywood Hemphers Hour show, so that was really fun.
Awesome.
Anybody want to listen and check it out in the archives? It's interesting. It almost didn't happen this year.
Right. They had to sue and everything, but now after all that, they get 3 days instead of 2. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, this will be on the Hollywood Hemphers Hour, airing tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific here on the Normal Network.
Yes, I interviewed, DeJay's been DeJay Kuti from the Patient Advocacy Network has been on your show, on our segment here, a while back, and so she's being interviewed. She's gonna actually co-host with me a little bit.
Oh, good.
Which is really good. And we're working on a few different. We're going to be doing we're putting together some street theater performances that for activism. Instead of like doing the regular speech rally with a bullhorn, we're going to have street performers get the message across to people.
All right. Well, get attention any way you can on this issue is a good thing. And I think we need to have some new creative ways of doing it, because I think maybe people's ears have grown accustomed to hearing the strident speeches and the bullhorns and all that, and maybe some theater will turn their heads.
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like people just kind of tune it out, kind of like advertising on the internet. Sure. We go blind with it. So maybe just experimenting and seeing what it would be like to just do something different. And it won't be maybe just like just speech rallies, but we're also talking about just going out like on Venice Beach, or even it's guerrilla theater. It's hey, we're going to be at this location and we'll just be out doing our thing.
Right on. Well, let's bring your guest on here, because this has been an ongoing saga that we've been covering here in this segment. So I'll just let you take it from there.
Yeah, we had Eric Matusik on last time, and as you know, he was sent to jail. I mean, well, basically he was raided by the police after he was in litigation, and they were asked not to do it. And an undercover cop came in and had a recommendation, showed it to him, made a donation towards the medicine, and then 2 weeks later he was raided and arrested and cited for not being registered.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to trial in front of a jury of his peers, and the judge postponed it a couple of times, and then finally said, you don't have enough evidence to warrant a trial by a jury of your peers, which is basically unconstitutional. Now they're appealing it, but in the process, they went towards the landlord, asking them to, under the crack house law, asking him to be evicted, to evict him, and the landlord refused, and so they took over. They evicted him. He closed the store down, and then it was raided on top of that after he closed it, and they took his iguana, and he's shut down now, and now he's well, he can tell you the rest of the story, but they're giving him some bad press, and it's just going on and on. So he wanted to at least get his voice out here, heard, his story in whatever medium that he could possibly get, because it really kind of appears that mainstream media just really isn't in our favor.
Right.
They do stories according to how they see it, and so here I want to introduce Eric Matusik to the show.
Welcome back, Eric.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh,
yeah. So. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, every time before we get too deep into it, the initial premise of how they bust you, every time, because I've done this story in numerous states before, where the cops go undercover, they get a real recommendation under a fake name, but they get a real driver's license, so you, as the guy who's checking them, it's like, okay, here's the recommendation paper, it looks valid, here's their ID, this looks valid, I'm following the law. I mean, the way they're running this, if they're going to call it a sting, would be like running an underage sting to catch people that are selling beer to kids, but giving the kids an ID that says they're 25.
Exactly. Yeah, no, or you could even call it entrapment.
Yeah.
And that's a good subject to talk about, because to obtain a medical recommendation, if you falsify information, the penalty is jail and fines and so forth. So right there, they're already breaking the law.
No, that's if you do it. Cops are allowed to lie, you see.
Well, of course, they're allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
They don't have to abide, follow the laws and the rules and set forth by the people. But of course not. Yeah, as I'm living it right now, absolutely. But that's a great topic of the subject. Is the point that the undercover officer came in with a valid medical recommendation, and then of course we verified online or called the doctor. And